Welcome back, nap trappers. Beck, it's school holidays. How are you?
I mean, I'm surviving. I think we're actually thriving in these school holidays, if you if you know what I mean.
Oh, it's like talking dirty to me with teenagers.
I know this is like it's such a different school holidays for us versus what you guys are going through. So I take my hat off to you. You were in the trenches. Like I used to
You take
dread
your
the
nap
school
trap cap
holidays.
off?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
It's
I tip
looking
my hat to you, my
good.
lady. Yeah. Nap trapped all the way.
Well,
today.
I am reporting live from Wangaratta. We've gone regional for these school holidays and it has been wonderful. I've just sent them to the pump track for the millionth time this week
Yep.
so that we can have some peace and quiet. But it has been a really wholesome week. I mean, everyone's driven each other crazy, don't get me wrong, and children have fought and, we're all on top of each other. But we've done things that we would never have done at home. Like
Well, I
yesterday,
think it
we
does
spent like
force
3
you to
hours
go
at a
out.
maze.
Oh, cool! Like a winery, like that has a maze, or or is it a maze?
Song's
Like
Winery.
okay,
It's a big hedge puzzle maze. They had all sorts of clues and adventure maps, and it was beautiful. And we couldn't beat the maze.
Oh my
We couldn't
God!
do it.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
Oh my God! It was like an escape room. Like
It felt like that with two children, like, let me out of here, climbing through the bushes, just about to get out. No, we couldn't crack it. I mean, to be fair, we were mostly led by a six-year-old.
Okay. All right.
But it was great fun. I just thought that there's no way we would have been doing this at home, and no signal. We had no signal. And it was heaven. But I found it really odd. I was like, I don't meant to check it was a bit jarring how I found myself reaching for my phone.
Oh yes, it's super habitual, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
I imagine,
it's a bit gross. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you were giving up smoking and, you like the habit of doing something with your hands, I imagine.
Yes.
Because like with your phone, I'm just constantly flipping it over to see what the time is or checking if there's a notification or whatever it might be. So when you know that actually, if you go away on holiday, like I don't really take my phone out, like because I'm 100% not checking emails when I'm away.
Oh, you're so much better than me.
And then that's the only time that I'll actually crack a book, really, because I know that
I've been able to read. I've gone to bed and I've read, which is so nice. Maybe we should start a little nap trapped book club.
Oh, we could do that.
Just add
that
I
need to be going on holidays more often. And,
that's true. That's true.
I'll chime in once a year.
Twice a year. Book club. The biannual nap trapped book club meeting.
Maybe you'll know, the listeners will know when we're doing really well because we've got 4 or 5 books, up for a book club discussion.
Life is good. Yeah. Business is thriving.
We are flying.
All right. Well, today we're talking about something that we've noticed come up a fair bit, particularly since we've made episodes about the 3-to-2 nap drop and in particular the 2-to-1 nap drop and the transitional schedule, as we call it. And we want to talk about and normalize some of the troubleshooting that needs to happen when we make a nap drop or even we just get on a schedule. Perhaps you've had 5 20-minute naps and then you work with one of us and your baby is 7 months old and we put you on a very set 3-nap schedule and the things that crop up to normalize it so that you don't panic and think, have I done this wrong? Why didn't this work for me and my baby? We want to normalize the trickier side of nap transitions because they can be a bit of a beast.
Well, it's the work behind it, I think. So it's all well and good to have like the routine written out for you and it's, beautifully, set
out. And it
out.
makes sense.
And it does make sense. And then you're sort of like, okay, cool. And so we just start this whole process and we're hoping that babies will naturally just fall into the rhythm. And while there are some that just do because, we're getting timings right and feeds right and all the things, sometimes with the naps, we do need to put a bit of legwork into it because our babies haven't read the memo. So we do need to work on that. Also, we're working on changing sleep pressure. Our little ones, for some babies and toddlers, they just haven't been they have never really had a set routine or anything like that. So they're just flying by the seat of their pants in terms of when they go down for naps and so forth. So we're creating sleep pressure and changing internal clocks as well. So instead of falling asleep maybe at 2, we're putting a nap in at 1. So that's all different. So recalibration of the naps takes a little bit of work. And so it can feel higgledy-piggledy at times. So we just want to make sure that you have the tools in order to be really confident about how to tackle these transitions and make it work for you.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about perhaps, because we've been seeing lots of comments, particularly in Snooze Social, about the 2-to-1 transitional schedule, which for anyone that hasn't listened to that episode yet, the transitional schedule is a schedule that Beck and I will commonly use for babies roughly 12 months onwards as you prepare for the 2-to-1 nap drop, because when you drop to 1 nap, it's a big change. We've got big chunky wake windows. Babies often feel stretched, but babies also are often cheeky and will signal that actually I'm a 1 nap baby sooner than they are, particularly if they're taking a really long first nap of the day and then it's a hard no for nap 2. Parents then drop the nap, things work, and then things go pear-shaped. So we use a transitional schedule so that you are able to have the smoothest nap transition as possible, but also to hold on to the 2 naps for as long as possible. So the way it looks is roughly a 7 a.m. up to start the day, a 10 till 10:30 nap 1, a 1 till 3 p.m. nap 2, and a 7 p.m. into bed. And one of the reasons why we do it as a short long is that then as your baby gets older and they naturally increase that first wake window, you whittle down that first nap until it's just 15 minutes in the pram while you're off to the park or to get a baby chino. And then when they're outright refusing it, say by 10:30, fantastic, they've organically dropped it, and you bring that second afternoon nap, that really lovely long one, early. And in theory, your baby's body clock doesn't have to work too hard or as hard as, hey, I've had 2 90-minute naps and now I'm going to have to do a big switcheroo, if that makes sense. Did I explain that well enough?
Yeah, I thought you made it sound super easy to understand.
If only babies were just like, yes, that's fine, I've listened to the podcast episode.
Yeah.
Because it makes so much sense. And, you and I are big on trying to explain the why behind these schedules. But as you said at the beginning, babies aren't on the memo. So even though you may have set the optimal stage for success with any nap transition, there can still be hiccups after you've made the change.
Yeah, and this sort of falls back to you can't always rely on the schedule to do the heavy lifting for you. There are times when we do need to implement sleep training, and that might look different to everybody, like whoever's, but essentially what can sometimes happen, or the troubleshooting that needs to sort of be applied with this transition schedule, is sometimes your first nap is nice and short, like we want, so 30 minutes, 15, 30 minutes, and then you're putting your little one down at, 1 o'clock to start their nap. And some common feedback is that they are falling asleep readily and easily, but they're only taking a short sleep. So they might only be doing like one sleep cycle, so 40 minutes or 1 hour, even maybe an hour 20. And we're really looking for a 2-hour nap at this point in time. We're wanting to try and get as close as we can to a 2-hour nap so that you still have a really decent bedtime. We are looking for that nap to be linked so that we have that seamless run at the 1 nap schedule, so that they are able to do a nice chunky sleep in the middle of the day when it's required. So there does need to sometimes be some work involved. Ways that you can optimize that particular nap one would be that if you're taking a 30-minute nap in the morning and your little one is still only taking 40 minutes in the afternoon, if they're sort of closer to the 14-month mark, you could potentially trim nap 1 back, and you might make it 20 minutes or 15 minutes to see if that might help to organically lengthen out the nap in the second half of the day. But ordinarily you might just have to put some work in terms of resettling or encouraging your little one to be able to link it, for themselves. So that might be going in at the 40-minute mark and holding, rocking, padding, shushing, putting in the rocking chair. Maybe you're going
Rescuing the
to
nap.
rescue the nap. And some families will feel like that's a really big backward step because they may not have needed any assistance beforehand to link their cycles, but we are working with internal body clock. So it's totally fine to spend 3, 4, maybe 5 days rescuing the nap and getting your little one back off to sleep so that then they are automatically inclined to think at the 40-minute mark on day 5, hey, hang on, I could actually take myself back off to sleep. Mum wants me to go back off to sleep, whether that's in arms or rescued with a pram or whatever. And then so once you've sort of created that idea that it is time to go back off to sleep and that they can lengthen their nap out, then you start to whittle away the intervention, the assistance that you're offering. So it's not a backward step. It is just retraining the internal clock to expect a longer nap at that time and using a little bit of help to encourage that and then whittling the support away. It's not a backwards move.
And I think sometimes it actually can give parents confidence, and you and I are big on having confident, empowered parents, is that if you've seen, let's say, in your example for the last 3 or 4 days, baby has fallen asleep. Yeah, it might have been a bit clunky for 10 minutes or so as you bounce them back to sleep, but they've been going back to sleep for the remainder of the nap, albeit assisted. It gives you the confidence to know, oh, you were actually still tired. And it also can do it in a relatively tear-free way. So it's a great side step. And as you said, I completely agree. I think people are scared, particularly if they've had an independent sleeper who could link a sleep cycle. That skill hasn't gone, but we have played that they don't know what we're doing. And so we have to have a little bit of a grace period for a lot of babies where we actually support them in getting on the schedule that you've listened to from the podcast. And it's the same sort of mentality. If I've ever gone overseas with my children, and particularly when they were babies, I know they've got no idea that, like, hey, we've got to stay in the dark room. Like, could you just lie in bed and read a book? No, I'm going to support them for sort of the appropriate amount of time. It's not ever a long-term solution. And then work with light and dark, as you were saying. So you'll assist them in the dark so we can continue to promote the production of melatonin, all the things that signal to them, and then we pull back. Once their body clock's set, once you've got some confidence, maybe you've even had a circuit breaker if there'd been lots of tears and you're like, we just need to call time. You regroup and then you go back to encourage them to take it on their own and to lengthen that sleep cycle on their own. And I think it's so important that we say that that is normal, that is not a regression. It's definitely not a regression. It is not a failure. It is just a natural blip that occurs when we make a schedule change. And I'll also say, and I'm sure you and I have said it a million times on other episodes, it's the same that even if you've had an amazing overnight sleeper, amazing, and then you change schedules, whether your baby makes a nap drop or you are moving to the transitional schedule, something, and then you make the change, and then all of a sudden you hear from them overnight when you had it maybe for the last 5 months. And I will often have people in my comments saying, hey, what do I do? Like, this isn't working. It's not that it's not working. You have to anticipate that because we have played with your baby's body clock with new sleep pressure, this is okay. Go through your checklist to rule out all the other causes of overnight wakings, and then you guide them through it and support them through this change. Don't go and fix.
Yeah, this is
which
true.
is so hard.
Yeah, I know.
So hard. And
the other thing that you can do, I'm so sorry to cut you off, is...
No, I'm reaching for my coffee.
The other thing that is helpful is just taking the pressure off and just doing a pram nap. Like for the entire nap too. and using motion as your wingman to get your
Yep.
little one off to sleep. Like in the super dark, space, go and pound the pavement, go for a beautiful long walk. Make sure you're still pounding the pavement at that 40-minute mark so there is motion in place so that they will
Make
then
it
wake and
dark,
sort of take
portable white noise.
yeah. And by dark, there's a lot of covers out there that they do a great job in terms of like blocking the sun, but they're not pitch black. So
Snooze
don't be
shade. That's my favorite.
Oh yeah, okay, snooze shade. Snooze
shade. I used one of those while I was in New York, actually. I remember when P was 6 months old, and I used it on the pram, and I think I even used it on the bassinet in the aeroplane.
Oh, wow,
because, of
cool.
course, like even when it's dark, it's not that dark, and people are coming and going and trolleys and whatnot. And I loved it. So, hello, snooze shade.
Yeah. So just take the pressure off. I think if it's becoming overwhelming and you want to, maybe you are not in the camp yet of assisting and, using lots of help, use a pram, go for a walk, do all those things to sort of organically link it out. And then the other thing too that you do want to make sure of is when you're doing the transitional schedule, that you watch very closely the timing of that first nap. There is a really, really big difference between a 30-minute nap in the morning and a 35-minute nap in the morning. And I can't stress that enough. Like I will always go back to basics with that one with clients, because if you are doing a 35-minute nap, quite often that's just enough to take the even more sleep pressure from the tank for that second nap to be linked together, or for it to even start relatively easily. So making sure that you're just, if you're struggling, then watching the timing of nap 1 is really, really important. Likewise with the gap between nap 1 and nap 2 being too long. So a lot of clients actually will sort of question, and I understand why they question this, like the 2.5 hour gap between nap 1 and nap 2. And then they'll put their babies and toddlers down, like they'll make the wake window longer. So this is really important as well. So if your baby is having a 30-minute nap in the morning and then you're like, 1 o'clock seems too, like it doesn't seem long enough.
Yeah, we get that all the time, don't we?
I'm going to put them down at 2 o'clock and then boom, they're only asleep for 30 minutes or 40 minutes and that becomes an overtired issue. So I would encourage you to just try the transitional schedule and the timings that we've mentioned, because there is a method to the madness. And the reason is that if your little one has been awake, say, since between 6 and 7 in the morning, and we're putting them to bed at 1 o'clock with just a 30-minute nap, it's 6 till 1 that's 7 hours. So they've technically been awake for 7 hours with just a 30-minute nap. So we are really finessing the sleep pressure here for them to go down well rested and not overtired. That's the reason behind that.
Yes. I had that this week with a client who we wanted ideally bedtime to be at 7:30 on the transitional schedule from a work-life flow perspective. And so I rejigged it a bit and we actually did a 45-minute nap in the morning. And we had talked about this may not work, but let's start. And what do you know, 2 weeks later, nap 2 is being refused outright, despite our absolute best efforts. Falling asleep, no issue, and so happy with that full 45 minutes. But it's now robbing from nap 2, and then they're left with this huge wake window, either with an early to bed, early to rise scenario or an overtime. Like you just almost can't win. Your hands are tied a little bit by that point, or they've had an accidental like 5 o'clock nap, which is oh gosh,
danger zone.
So danger zone. So we tried. It worked for a little bit, but we're getting too much pushback. So we have done exactly what you said, which is trim nap 1 to preserve nap 2. Now, a couple of the other troubleshooting questions that have cropped up from the transitional schedule episode is, what if my baby, and we'll use, let's use, I don't know, should we use 13 months as an example?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a pretty average age for this schedule. Let's use a 13-month-old. Okay, do I start walking in the pram at 10, or do I do it earlier so then they're asleep by 10 until 10:30? Or do I start pounding the pavement at 10, but then come 10:30 maybe they've only slept for 20 minutes?
Oh, this is a good question. I think you're the best, like mum is the best person to answer this question because we really don't know like the history
How long it
of
takes.
how long
Yep.
it takes your little one to fall asleep
Yep.
and whether or not it's actually a conducive way to do it. And maybe it is easier and faster if you rock, hold, pack, cuddle in the house or keep the parent pram in the bedroom. So lots of different
Yes.
factors there. You actually really want to take the pressure off and just do the fastest way possible. So my answer really is if you're putting your little one into the pram at 13 months and it's taking 25 minutes for them to fall asleep, I would say it's probably not the right method to getting your little one
Could
down.
you rock, carrier, bounce?
Yeah, because I think
instead.
what families are getting confused by is, and I totally understand this, is that one of the signs that we're looking for your baby is ready to drop to one nap is when they start refusing that first nap and it gets harder and harder to achieve. But actually, we want to keep that first nap in for as long as possible. And that's why we start sort of taking, all gloves are off, like you can get your little one to sleep however way as fast as you can just to hold on to their 2 naps until, say, 14, 15 months minimum. So if your little one is going into the pram and it's not super dark and they're super distracted and stimulated by all the things going on and, maybe it is super dark, but they're just not into the motion because they haven't really needed it beforehand to get off to sleep. It's just maybe not their thing. So I would play around with other techniques.
Yeah. And the other question that I have seen is what's the cutoff in the sense of, okay, I've been doing what I thought was the fastest way, that my baby usually will surrender, for want of a better word, to the nap.
Great word.
They've just fallen asleep at 10:32. Do I give them the full 30 minutes until 11 or do I need to, and then a 1:30 into bed, or what do I do if we're falling asleep closer to 10:30 despite my best efforts?
In that scenario, that's a 15-minute nap. And the reason why it's a
Yeah.
15-minute nap is because we're trying to create the internal clock to be wired for that second nap to happen as close to 1 o'clock as we can. Because if we start shifting that second nap out later and later to accommodate a first nap, when you drop to one nap, all of a sudden that nap that might have been starting at 1:30, 2 o'clock now has to shift 2 hours earlier, which is really hard. So one of the biggest factors for a smooth transition to the one nap schedule is keeping that second nap at 1 o'clock so it doesn't have to shift too much.
Too far.
Yeah. Does that
If it's
make
starting
sense?
at 2, then because we bring that nap to start at 11:30 when
Yes,
we
that's
make
right.
the nap transition. So if your baby has then been taking a 2:30 nap, it's really got to rejig down to 11:30 versus 1 down to
Yes.
11:30.
Yeah, that's
And I
right.
think also by that stage, if your baby is refusing it, 15 will take 15 minutes, because if they then took the 30, as you said, it's going to make nap 2 much harder. All they need is 15 minutes. And then you can keep that first nap at 1. And yes, maybe it takes 5-10 minutes, a little bit extra than perhaps what they were. What am I trying to say?
Yeah.
Takes them that little bit longer to fall asleep, but they're still going in pretty well rested. They've had their little 15-minute power snooze. You don't need to play around with it. You let them do their thing. It's just, we used this analogy before. It always pops into my head, the rice cooker, where you're just releasing the steam from the valve at the back rather than like taking the whole lid off and the whole room is filled. That's the full nap. It's just, the frosting on the cake, the icing on the cake, like the last little bit just to get to the afternoon nap. Now, one of the other nap troubleshooting moments we see after so baby's outright refusing, you've held on to the 2 naps for as long as possible. Hooray, we have made it to the 2 to 1 nap drop. You've got there probably somewhere between 15 and 18 months. And you've had this lovely long 2-hour nap, on the transitional schedule, 1 hour 50. Cool.
Yeah.
We'll take it. That's no problem. You now go to 11:30 on day 1. They take 2 hours. Amazing.
Yeah, you think
You've
you're
nailed
rocking
it.
it.
Yeah, rocking
Yeah,
it. Look at us
sweet.
go. Don't get me wrong. I've had that feeling of like, I'm so
Yeah.
good at this. Only for 24 hours later. Yes, exactly.
Crash and
Your baby's
burn.
like,
Yeah.
actually, no.
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep for 55 minutes
Mm.
or 1 hour 15. They
Mhm.
love a 1 hour 15,
They
which
certainly do.
isn't
There's
long
2
enough.
cycles. Yeah. We want
Yeah.
a third. Come on. We're being greedy. We
Come
want a
on, you
third.
can do it. We've seen you do it before. And then maybe you even delay, as we will commonly say, getting them up. So you keep them in for cot time, crib hour, whatever you want to call it, until the desired wake up time from that nap. Oh, they did not go back to sleep. That's okay. Early days. We'll try again the next day. Oh, no, we're still at the 1 hour 15. This is where I would go back to what you said back at the beginning. That's okay. We have made a big change. We know your baby can do it. Let's take a sideways step, assist, either do the full nap at that timing. So at 11:30, out in the pram, in the car, whatever is your safest bet for the full time for a couple of days. Then you can look at, okay, we're going to try this again in the cot, and then you can rescue the second half, rock, bounce, pat, pram inside, fully assist. And then after a few days of that, it's like, okay, we really know you can do this now.
Yeah.
Now we're going to nap train it. And I think that's where also people get scared or they don't, and I get it. Nap training is hard, but it is often necessary.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that if your baby was rocking a huge long nap previously, you know they've got the skills. They've just been a bit discombobulated from the transition, and it is our job to support them in, as you would say, enticing that skill set back out.
Yeah, that's right. And sleep consultants aren't, like void. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean? Like we have to do it. We've had to do it with our children.
I had to do it this week, not for a nap because we're off naps, but we had a 5:30 early rise, which Beck, that doesn't happen.
No.
But it was on the first morning of the new house, and the birds here are beautiful, but they are so loud. Anyway, I checked the clock and I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And we'd had a huge travel day the day before, and I actually popped him back into he's still in a cot, into the porta cot, and he wasn't very happy about it at all. And I thought, I'm not afraid of your big feeling. My job is to lovingly and calmly resettle you and hold the boundary, because I know you are going to be cooked by lunchtime.
Yeah, totally.
And also it's not time for us to be up. So he didn't actually go back to sleep, but he did stay in his cot. And we started the day a little bit earlier than we would at home, but I think that, I have some allowances while we're away. I'm not totally.
You're fun mum on
strict.
holiday.
Yeah, you may get out at 6:25. But I just thought, no, this isn't, I can be the parent here. And sometimes we have to sort of have that mantra of, oh, okay, no, I need to do the hard work here to get back on track.
And some things just don't come easy. So, there are clients and, families out there just listening to the pod who they've breezed through, and they're like, oh, I've never had to sleep train. I've never had to do this. And then all of a sudden this has come up and it must be a scare. But it's just part and parcel of it. It's just, it will just
real
crop
life.
up. Yeah, it's real life. And boundary holding is really important. And really, if you're working towards something, you really have to adopt the attitude of your future self will love you for it. And it might be hard getting to that point, but it will be worth it. And really putting in the time and the energy for it. Because if you're a person that really cannot handle being awake in the 5:30, starting your day at that time, and it's absolutely creating real dissatisfaction in your day and chaos and all the things, it's so worth putting the time and effort and energy into fixing it. And the same as if you're really unsettled by the idea that the nap is really short and it needs to sort of be longer, and you need support, book in with one of us and we will hold your hand and guide you through it. And it is worth it. And it's not something that is unusual to do. We do have to sometimes work on sleep training naps. And for
definitely.
my guys were, when they transitioned to one nap, they would happily do 12:30 till 2 initially. But I was like, no, I actually want the 2.5 hours. I want a 12:30 till 3 nap. So I think I've said this before. I sleep trained them all to do 12:30 till 3.
You just programmed them in the back.
Yeah, that's right. Set. But yeah, no.
Reset factory settings.
Yeah. But it was worth it. Was it hard? Yeah, it was pretty hard for a week. Absolutely, it was pretty hard. Was it worth it? 100%. An absolute 100%. It was worth it. And to have naps from, 15 months for the first two and, while I was a little bit younger, 2.5 hour naps all the way up until they were 2.5, 3 is honestly incredible.
Yeah.
So yes, my future self loved me for a very long time. But
yes,
it's fine. It is fine to nap train. It is harder because they are fully awake and we're like out and about doing
particularly
things.
if they've already done a sleep cycle too. That's hard because they've already had a little refresher kip and now they're like, no, I have stamina. I'm really tired too, so I'm going to be angry about it. It is hard. It's hard, and we're not going to sugarcoat it.
No, and the idea I think too is, okay, I'm getting worked up.
Go back.
When you're nap training, the idea is not actually for them to go back off to sleep. So it's
the same with the early rising protocol.
100%. If your little one has woken up at 2:00 and they're supposed to sleep until 3, if they don't go back off to sleep and you've been sleep training, that's not a fail. That hasn't not worked. It's the process of creating the internal clock to expect that they're staying in the darkened room for another X amount of time, so that then after a few days, once they realize that this is actually a forever thing, then they relax into it. And then when they do wake at the 40-minute mark or the hour and 15-minute mark, that they realize that the stimulation isn't happening for quite some time. So they relax into the idea that they can actually, I can just go back off to sleep and enjoy myself. So that's where the magic happens. It doesn't happen in actually them falling back asleep. So I just want to normalize that too.
Yes. And do you find, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, that our job as sleep consultants, it's becoming sort of increasingly clear to me, is I feel like we're actually more coaches than we are fixers. Because we can never make a baby go to sleep. We can never make a baby fall back asleep. And we also can't stop these real life moments from happening, whether we're sleep training and nap training for the first time and something goes awry, or baby does take a short nap, even though it took a long one yesterday, or a tooth has popped through in the middle of the night, or you make the transition to one nap and you followed the plan beautifully and you get an hour and 15. Our job is to actually normalize and coach through these things so that you don't feel like this is a total failure or a regression. And because I know the tendency as a mother to spiral and be like, have I done this too? So like, will this ever like, have I broken the system? Like we had it so good. What have I done? What do I do? Breathe. These things happen even to the best of sleepers. And you've just heard it. You've heard it here first, folks. Even to the babies of sleep consultants. We have to do the hard work too. And just this week, I've had real life early rising.
Yeah.
And I did the hard work.
And yeah, you're right that we do coach a lot. We are your cheerleaders. We are your hand holders.
Yes,
we've
okay.
got you. Yeah, and I think that that's often a huge relief for our clients, that no one cares as much as we care about your child's sleep. And we're
my goodness,
totally invested.
Knew how much we cared.
Yeah, we're so invested. Your children are our children. Like in the end,
forget my own children when I'm on a 2-week package. I'm like all eyes on someone else's baby. Making sure that everyone's okay. Yes, and all of these things are normal and natural, and it's okay to have to take I'm always saying 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But we could even, if back sounds too negative, sideways.
Sideways, yep, always fine. Yep.
Sideways step, just a sideways shuffle. All right. Well, hopefully that's normalized a couple of the things that have been cropping up, particularly with the 2-to-1 nap transition, but a lot of it still applies to any nap transition. You need to remember we are working with your baby's internal body clock and they are just not in on the plan.
Yeah.
And
it's
when
repetition.
we work on night, it's repetition, it's consistent opportunity, and to make sure all the other, the backup singers to the nap, the floor time, the milk feeds, the solids, the environment, that they're all in place so that then there's nothing else to do but let it play out, and follow the plan, essentially, and it will come good.
And if you're stuck, you need to reach out and we will help you.
Yes. Yes, because sometimes it is just having a sounding board, having the cheer squad, or it's just the smallest tweak that we can see. We're like, oh, yes, great. And then in 3 days' time, it all clicks into place.
Absolutely.
Or just to realise that we read the intake and form and are not flustered by it. We're not like, oh my goodness, it's like, oh yeah, I can see how, okay, cool, this is what we'll do. And yep, that's fine on day 4, no problem, keep going.
Yeah.
Give it time. So yes, it's okay if things aren't going absolutely perfect. Perfect does not exist.
I love that. Amazing.
Excellent. All right. Well, we will see you on the next episode of Nap Trapped. Bye.
See you later. Bye.